This is Andre Belli. Alina was cleaning her favorite vase when the front door swung open with a bang. Her husband, Maxim, stood there, his face twisted with rage. He hadn't even taken off his shoes. He walked straight into the living room, clenching his fists. "Mom told me everything about you," he yelled, and without giving her time to recover, he punched Alina in the face. The woman flew back against the wall, dropping the vase. The porcelain shattered, and shards scattered across the floor. Alina, shocked, pressed her palm to her burning cheek. What are you talking about?" was all she could manage to squeeze out. "Don't pretend." Maxim towered over her, waving his arms. "Mom saw everything. How were you making out with that Artyom of yours at the entrance?" Alina blinked. What Artyom? She didn't know any Artyom. In 4 years of marriage, Alina had never given him any reason to doubt her fidelity. The thought had never even crossed his mind. "Maxim, I don't understand, stop lying." He threw his phone on the floor. She even took a photo. "Did you think I wouldn't recognize her?" There really was a photo on the cracked smartphone screen. A woman of similar build was hugging a man at the entrance to a building, but her face was invisible. The photo was taken from behind and far away. "That's not me," Alina said firmly, standing up. "Look closely. This woman has blonde hair, mine is dark brown." Maxim froze for a second looking at the photo, but then his temper flared again. "You think I'm an idiot? Mom wouldn't lie, and you've always been cunning." Alina tried to touch his shoulder to calm him down, but he pushed her hand away. "Maxim, this is just some kind of mistake. Let's talk calmly." "Never." "Shut up." He swung again, but Alina jumped back. "Mom said she'd been suspicious of you for a while, that she'd seen you texting someone when you thought no one was watching." Alina's expression turned cold. She had indeed been secretly corresponding for the past few weeks, but not with her lover. She was planning a surprise for Maxim for their anniversary, saving up money from her part-time jobs to order him the collectible watch he'd long dreamed of, and consulting with the seller. "Let me see my messages." She reached for her phone, which was lying on the coffee table, but Maxim was faster, grabbed it, and threw it against the wall. The plastic case cracked, and the screen went black. "Maxim," Alina cried. "What are you doing?" "Pack your things," he hissed. "You have an hour, then I'll change the locks." "This is my house too," Alina tried to object. "We paid the mortgage together." "The apartment is registered in my name," Maxim snapped. "Mom helped with the down payment, she forgot. So get out." He went into the bedroom, slamming the door loudly. Alina was left standing in the middle of the living room, among the shards of glass and with a broken phone. Her cheek burned from the blow, but inside a completely different fire was blazing, a rage. Over the 4 years of their marriage, her mother-in-law, Galina Stepanovna, had interfered in their lives more than once. Cleaning advice, comments on the cooking, comments on how Maxim had lost so much weight. But until today, she had never crossed that line. Alina picked up the broken phone from the floor and pulled out the SIM card. Whatever her mother-in-law was planning, this had gone too far. Quickly, having packed the bare essentials into a small bag, Alina left the apartment. Maxim didn't even come out to say goodbye. She heard him talking on the phone, of course, to his mother. He had only 5,000 rubles in cash in his pocket. All Alina could find in her haste. Her bank card was left in the box at home. She went into a mobile phone store, bought the cheapest push-button phone, and inserted her SIM card. She called her friend Diana and briefly explained the situation. "Come over, of course," Diana said. "Stay as long as you need." An hour later, Alina was already at her friend's, drinking strong tea and trying to recapture the day's events. "This is crazy," she said, applying ice to her cheek. "I don't even know any Artyom." Diana thoughtfully twirled her cup in her hands. "What if," she began. What if your mother-in-law made this all up? Well, on purpose." Alina froze. "Why would she do that? You said you were approaching your wedding anniversary soon, and that she kept hinting to Maxim that it was too early to get married, that you weren't right for him." Alina recalled how a few weeks ago, when she and Maxim were discussing plans for their anniversary, Galina Stepanovna suddenly started calling every day. Either her faucet was leaking or she was having back pain, or her computer was broken, and each time Maxim rushed to her aid. "I don't even know what to do now," Alina admitted. "The phone's broken, the money's at home." Maxim wasn't listening. "First, find out where this photo came from," Diana suggested. "Maybe my mother-in-law stole a random photo from the internet." That sounded reasonable. Alina took Diana's laptop and started searching for similar images. To her surprise, the search quickly returned results. A very similar photo was found in a group from the apartment complex where she and Maxim lived. A post from 2 weeks ago described a couple making noise under their windows at night. Alina enlarged the photo. Same pose, same blonde hair, just a slightly different angle. "What a bitch!" Diana exclaimed. She took the photo from the internet and passed it off as you. Alina felt a wave of anger rise inside her. Her mother-in-law had gone too far. She wasn't just interfering in their lives. She was deliberately destroying their marriage. "I need to talk to her," Alina decided. "Right now." "Are you sure?" Diana asked worriedly. "Maybe with Maxim first. He won't hear a word now. He always trusted his mother implicitly." Alina remembered that Galina Stepanovna was supposed to be at the dacha that weekend. She always went there at the beginning of May, to prepare the garden beds for planting. So she had come to the city specifically to set up this setup. "Give me your car," Alina asked. "I'll return it tomorrow." "Just don't do anything stupid," Diana warned, handing over the keys. "Call any time." Galina Stepanovna's dacha was an hour's drive from the city. It was an old 2-story house surrounded by apple trees and a vegetable garden. Alina parked by the gate and walked resolutely toward it. Her mother-in-law was working in the yard, bent over a garden bed. Next to her, on a bench by the gazebo, sat her father-in-law, Stepan Alexievich, a taciturn retired military man. He was the only one in the family, and he always treated Alina well, but he never contradicted his wife. Hearing footsteps, Galina Stepanovna straightened up. Surprise flashed across her face, quickly replaced by a malicious grin. "And the bride has arrived," she drawled. "Why did Maxim kick you out?" "It was long overdue." Alina stopped a few steps away. Stepan Alexievich rose from the bench but didn't come any closer, simply watching intently. "Why did you do this?" Alina asked bluntly. "Why did you lie to Maxim?" "What are you talking about, dear?" The mother-in-law feigned surprise. "I simply revealed to my son the snake he's been nursing. This is a photo from the internet." Alina pointed to the post she'd found on the screen. "You took someone else's photo and passed it off as mine. You deliberately staged the whole thing." Galina Stepanovna turned pale, but quickly pulled herself together. "Don't try to pull the wool over my eyes. Maybe that's not you in the photo, but I saw with my own eyes you making out with some Ukrainian guy." "It's a lie," Alina said firmly. "I never cheated on Maxim. Never." "How dare you tell me I'm lying?" The mother-in-law flared up. "Styopa, do you hear what she's saying?" Stepan Alexievich frowned, but remained silent. "I know why you did this," Alina continued. "You never wanted us to be together. You've always interfered in our lives, but now you've crossed all boundaries. How dare you?" The mother-in-law grabbed a weeding shovel from the ground and took a step toward Galina. "I always wanted the best for my son, and you just clung to him because of the apartment." She swung the shovel, but Alina intercepted her hand. They froze in an absurd struggle, staring into each other's eyes. "Let go," her mother-in-law hissed. "I won't let go." Alina squeezed her wrist tighter. "I won't let go until you confess your lie to Maxim." "I'd rather die," Galina Stepanovna shrieked, and with her free hand she grabbed Alina's hair. Alina screamed in pain. Instinctively, she pushed her mother-in-law away from her. Her mother-in-law lost her footing and, flailing her arms awkwardly, fell into an open barrel of irrigation water. There was a loud splash. Galina Stepanovna, coughing and spitting, thrashed around in the barrel like a giant, enraged toad. Her perfectly coiffed hair turned into wet icicles. Her expensive country suit was soaked through. "Get me out," she screamed. "Stepan, immediately." Stepan Alexeyevich slowly approached the barrel, assessed the situation, and suddenly burst into laughter. It was so unexpected that even his mother-in-law fell silent for a moment. In the 20 years they had known each other, Alina had never heard him laugh. "What's so funny?" Galina Stepanovna howled. "Get me out right now." "You'll get out yourself," her father-in-law said, unexpectedly firmly. Since she'd already climbed in, he turned to Alina. "Let's go inside," he said. "We need to talk." Over tea in the living room, Stepan Alexeyevich spoke more than 2 sentences in a row for the first time in years. "I always knew Galia was too controlling of Maxim," he admitted, looking into his cup, but did nothing. He thought his son would figure it out on his own. He should have intervened sooner. Galina Stepanovna, having changed into dry clothes and dried her hair, sat in the corner of the room, pointedly ignoring their conversation. "You don't understand," she finally snapped. "This woman is simply using our son. What has she given him? Nothing. And I gave him my whole life." "That's the problem, Galia," Stepan Alexeyevich said wearily. "You don't want to let him go. And I'm right." His mother-in-law lifted her chin. "Look at what Maxim has become since he got married. He's lost weight, he's haggard, he works around the clock." "He lost weight because he started going to the gym," Alina retorted calmly. "And he works a lot because he was promoted to department head. He's happy with his job." "He was happier before you," Galina Stepanovna snapped. "No, Galia, he wasn't," her father-in-law said unexpectedly firmly. "You just don't want to see this." He turned to Alina. "I'm sorry it came to this," he said. "Galia really did make up that story about you cheating. I only found out about it this morning when she called Maxim." Alina clenched her fists. A strange calm came over her. "I want you to call Maxim and tell him the truth," she said, looking at her mother-in-law. "Right now." "I wouldn't even think about it," she snorted. "My son has finally seen the light, and I won't let you do it again, Galia," her husband interrupted. "Either you call and confess, or I'll tell you everything myself. And not just about today, about everything. About how you read their correspondence, about how you accidentally spilled tea on Alya's things, about how you encouraged the neighbor to complain about the noise coming from their apartment." Galina Stepanovna turned pale. "You wouldn't dare." "I would dare," her father-in-law said calmly. "I've been silent for too long, Galia. Ends today." He took out his phone and dialed his son's number, putting it on speakerphone. Maxim's voice sounded tired. "Something happened, Maxim," Stepan Alexeyevich began. "Your mother needs to confess something to you." When Alina returned to the apartment, Maxim was sitting in the kitchen, staring into space. An untouched bottle of whiskey and an empty glass stood in front of him. Hearing footsteps, he looked up. His eyes were red, as if he'd been crying. "Alina," he hoarsely said. "I didn't finish." Alina silently walked to the refrigerator, got some ice, wrapped it in a towel, and applied it to her still swollen cheek. "Father told me everything," Maxim continued. "And my mother confessed. I don't know what to say. I believed her, not you. Hit you. Hey. You chose a side, Maxim," Alina said quietly. "You always chose it. I was wrong." He stood up, tried to approach her, but she retreated. "I never. This is the first time I've raised a hand to you. I swear I don't know what came over me. I was beside myself with the thought that I was cheating on you," Alina finished for him. "And you didn't even give me a chance to explain, didn't give me a chance to defend myself. You just believed her." Maxim lowered his head. "I'll fix everything," he whispered. "I swear I'll fix everything. Just give me a chance." Alina looked at her husband for a long moment. She loved him. Despite everything that had happened, she still loved him. "One chance," she finally said. And there were conditions. 5 years had passed since that day. Alina stood in the kitchen of their new home. Not an apartment, but a real house in the countryside, with a garden and its own plot of land. She stirred soup and smiled, listening to Maxim in the backyard teaching their 4-year-old daughter Sophia how to fly a kite. Much changed after that incident. She and Maxim went to family therapy. He fully realized how toxic his relationship with his mother had been and learned to set healthy boundaries. Galina Stepanovna tried to return to her old methods, but encountered unexpected resistance not only from her daughter-in-law, but also from her son and even her own husband. Stepan Alexievich, to everyone's surprise, filed for divorce a month after the incident at the dacha. Galina Stepanovna was so shocked that she didn't even contest the division of property. Her father-in-law now lived in a small, cozy apartment in their neighborhood and often came to visit to play with his granddaughter. He seemed to blossom, freed from the oppression of his overbearing wife. He began traveling, enrolled in computer courses, and even created a social media account where he shared photos of his travels. After the divorce, Galina Stepanovna went to live with her sister in Saratov. She called Maxim occasionally, but their conversations were brief and formal. Last Christmas, she sent him an apology card, the first she'd ever sent. It was a small but important step. Alina smiled when she heard her daughter's joyful cry outside the window. Sophia looked so much like her father. The same dimples, the same stubborn chin. Maxim walked into the kitchen, holding his daughter in his arms. "Mom, we launched the kite, it's taller than a tree," Sophia said excitedly. "Well done." Alina kissed her daughter on the forehead. "Dinner will be ready soon." Maxim put the girl down on the floor. "Go wash your hands, don't be a fidget," he said. When Sophia ran away, Maxim hugged Alina from behind, burying his nose in her neck. "You know, I sometimes think that day was the most terrible and most important of my life," he said quietly. "I almost lost you." Alina turned in his arms and looked into his eyes. "But I didn't," she smiled. "We made it. Thanks to you," Maxim said seriously. "You could have just left, you had every right to, but you gave me a chance to become a better person." Alina touched his cheek. "We both became better people," she said. "And you know what? I don't regret anything, not even that sad trip to the dacha." They laughed, remembering Galina Stepanovna in the barrel of water. This memory, once painful, now evoked only laughter, a sure sign that old wounds had healed. Outside the window, Sophia was flying her kite again, this time on her own. It soared high into the sky, bright and free, like their new life, where toxic relationships and manipulation no longer existed. They had chosen each other, and it was the right choice.